Basketball fans, welcome back. So in this video, I'll be doing a in-depth look on what happened with the Dynamo team in their BAL run, and a quick synopsis of what happened was the Dynamo team in their first game, they went into the game. It was the first game of Dynamo playing. They played against the Cape Town Tigers, and it was the second game of the day. And looking at that game, you might not have seen anything off with those two teams playing, but on a closer look, you will have seen the Dynamo team. They concealed the Visit Rwanda logo that is beneath the front part of the jersey, and they put some tape on it. So in this video, we'll be looking at the reasons why and the repercussions and ramifications of their decision. So this is in an exclusive by Africa Basket on the official website, africabasket.net. They made an article which we're going to go ahead and look at. So the gripping controversy surrounding the Dynamo Sunday forfeit, and Africa Basket also unveiled a plot twist in that whole jersey protest saga in the BAL. So this is something that has never happened before, and it caught a lot of people who are invested in the BAL and viewers of the BAL off guard. And the Dynamo team chose to forfeit, given like the demands that they had set were not met. So on the morning of Sunday, 10th March, the Basketball Africa League released a statement stating that the Burundi-based club Dynamo has forfeited its game against FUS Rabat, who hail from Morocco. The forfeiture was due to Dynamo refusing to comply with the league's rules governing jersey and uniform requirements. So you could see the whole situation where in their first game they put tape and concealed the logo of Visit Rwanda really did not rub the BL investors the right way. So despite much speculation surrounding the reasons for their forfeiture, fans in Burundi, South Africa, and beyond were hopeful that Dynamo will rejoin the competition and participate in day 3 following the negotiations with the league and the Burundi Basketball Federation. So unfortunately, Dynamo's hopes of returning to the Basketball Africa League were dashed at that following morning when the league office announced that the team had again refused to comply with the BAL rules and requirements governing jerseys and uniforms. So as a result of incurring 2 forfeits, including Sundays and that day and Monday's game that was following, the club triggered an automatic withdrawal from the competition per league rules. So the Dynamo Basketball Club, has further refused to comply with the Basketball Africa League rules requirements and requirements governing jerseys and uniforms, thereby forfeiting today's games against Petro de Luanda and its participation in the 2024 BAL season. FIBA rules 2 forfeitures in the same tournament trigger the club's automatic withdrawal. So the BAL came out with a statement and quote, so amid swirling rumors in the basketball industry regarding Dynamo's reluctance to comply with the league's regulation regarding rules and requirements governing jerseys and uniforms, Africa Basket had obtained exclusive insider information on the negotiation process. So these revelations come from an anonymous source at the Kalahari Conference Games in South Africa. So as per Africa Basket's insider, on the eve of Dynamo's opening game against the Cape Town Tigers, the club officials from Burundi received directives from their government to conceal the logos of BAL partner and jersey sponsor Visit Rwanda. So surprisingly, Dynamo managed to opt out. Management opted not to disclose this development to the Basketball Africa League office, leaving the league unaware of the decision and underlying rationale. So you can see there was a game being played there, and the players and the team were being used as pawns because the government issued a directive to hide and conceal the Visit Rwanda emblem that is on the jersey. So this move underscored the current and soaring political This move underscored the current and soaring political tensions between Rwanda and Burundi following the renewed accusations of Burundian President Evariste alleging that Rwanda provides financial support and training to rebel groups, specifically the Red Tabara group. So, in the eyes of Burundian authorities, the Red Tabara stands branded as a terrorist faction, which with accusations leveling against its members on their alleged involvement on the unsuccessful coup d'etat in 2015. So, originating in 2011, the group has faced scrutiny on its purported role in a string of assaults within Burundi since the events of 2015. So, as Dynamo took the court at the Sunbet Arena on Saturday, March 9th, both FIBA and VAL executives observed a Jersey sponsorship logo being concealed. While frustrated by the club's actions, a decision was reached to proceed with the game as scheduled, considering it was a season opener being broadcasted worldwide. So, shutting down the game was not an option because it was a tip-off and they couldn't do anything about it at the time. So they decided to let the game go on. So, however, officials pledged to address the matter after the game concluded. So, because a lot of tickets had been sold and the game was due to be broadcasted live all around the world, the league did not stop, as they would have lost a lot of money and respect. So they allowed the game to go ahead and they said they will address the matter afterwards, according to the source. So this was actually quite a tricky situation because you just cannot stop a game when you see something like that happen. And considering the fact that that information was kept from the BAL and also FIBA, they didn't know, it was really, really a tough decision. So letting them play like that really hurt the stock of the BAL. And a lot of people don't understand the whole ramifications of this, because after Dynamo got cut, the league lost a lot of money, especially when it came to advertisements and also content. They lost that. So after Dynamo secured a victory against the Cape Town Tigers 74-62, the league office responded by issuing a fine to the Burundi-based club for their actions regarding the rules and requirements governing jerseys and uniforms. So in response, the Burundi government officials and Dynamo front office members made it clear that they are unwilling to comply in the following games. So in an intriguing development, our insider source revealed that the Basketball Africa League did not provide explicit written or verbal details regarding the specifics of the fine imposed on Dynamo for covering up the Visit Rwanda sponsor logo. So this lack of clarity raised questions about the league's stance on the matter and adds to the situation's complexity. So the sponsors were angry that the Dynamo team did that, coming from a directive from the Burundi government to the sports federation, for the Burundi Basketball Federation to the Dynamo team. It was such a sticky situation at that one. So in a late Monday evening email exchange, Jean-Paul Manirakiza, the president of the Burundi Basketball Federation, emailed Dynamo Basketball Club president Joy Rukundo, provided an alternate solution. So there was an email that was exchanged. So requests ask you to play with the official sponsor logo did not come from FEBABU, the Federation of Burundi Basketball. Therefore, we recommend that you play either with your own jerseys or jerseys with the hidden logo like last time. So you're seeing the Burundi Basketball Federation and Dynamo and the government are playing hardball with the BL. So following some deliberations, Joe Rukundo followed with an email to Ruben Botmije, I hope I have not butchered the name, Associate Vice President, Head of Content and Broadcast Operation in the Basketball League, stating, as directed by the Burundi Federation in the email that followed the BAL notice, the club Dynamo will not play its games with the current uniform unless provided with uniforms not carrying the sponsor's logo. So you can see there was a directive that the Burundi government did not want the Burundi-based team, the Dynamo team, to play with that logo specifically. So these suggestions were ultimately rejected by the BAL and may bring sanctions to the club and its basketball federation because of the money and the disrespect that has been shown to the sponsors, because a lot of brands and organizations will look at this move be like, so if the BAL do not crack the whip on the Dynamo team and also just have a harsh punishment, that means any other team can have their own case on why they don't want a sponsor on a jersey and do all that. So there can be a lot of it can be a very sticky situation. So numerous experts and fans have speculated that FIBA, one of the two organizing bodies of the BL, may impose a rumored 5-year ban on the club and its basketball federation due to this infraction, following Dynamo's forfeiture of their second game and withdrawing from the league. However, our sources dispute the technicalities of this notion. So FIBA never explicitly say that they will sanction Dynamo for 5 years. They can't do that until a case has been opened and closed. So in the event a sanction case being opened against Dynamo and their basketball federation, FEBABU, they will need to appoint a lawyer to represent their case against the sanction. Following that, FIBA and the BL will have to present their case of the sanction, explaining how Dynamo's action impacted the competition. I can say they really impacted the competition negatively because majority of the time, sponsors do not like being disrespected like that, and the game had to go on. So subsequently, a sanction will be imposed for review. Although a sanction can include a 5-year ban, FIBA may be reluctant to do so because of the knock-on effect said ban will have on the development on basketball in Burundi. Because if you impose such a harsh ban on Burundi basketball and just locking them out of the BAL, it would, not only stunt the progression of Burundi basketball players, but also a lot of other things will be affected, like the Ball Elevate program in Burundi, and player coming from Burundi will not be able to get any packs. So it can be very, very difficult. So during Africa Basket's recent X-Space event, which I made sure to record on the channel, discussing Dynamo's forfeiture, an observer highlighted the potential repercussions of this issue, suggesting that teams from other African nations with tensions towards Rwanda might adopt a similar stance to Dynamo. This represents a situation that FIBA will need to address presently and in the future. This is a dire situation for the Dynamo players, coaching staff, and the development of basketball in Burundi, and also African basketball. And it's also embarrassing for the business of basketball across the continent. So that's the end of the article. So I've seen a lot of people talk about this whole issue, especially on X, and I've seen a lot of comments which I've highlighted on the Facebook group. And all I must say is this. In majority of the comments I've seen, a lot of people do not side with what Burundi is doing. And I can say about 70% of people do not side with them. I know there's a small pocket of people who are siding with what Burundi is doing and what the Dynamo team did. But if you take a closer look, you can see those are guys hailing from their own country. Of course, people who come from their own country are going to support their own country. But if you look at the ground, you can see the people who, in the comments of the threads, when it comes to those when the notice was put out by BAL, and also with the tweet in X when Burundi declared that they're not going to play, an overwhelming majority of people were just against what Dynamo did. And honestly, if they had a problem, why did they have to wait until they played their first game? Would they have communicated that earlier? Because the BL has been operating for 3 years and they've always had the Visit Rwanda logo on their jerseys. So if Burundi had a problem, they would have put that across and communicated that, and know for a fact that, and Burundi being I can say Burundi, or the Burundi government and their federation, I can say that they were very naive and arrogant, because teams have their own jerseys that they play when they play in Rotubal. But if you go to the BAL, there's a specific jersey attire that they are given. And honestly, that's what they're supposed to follow when they go to BAL, which has the sponsors. You've got New Fortress there, you've got the Jordan brand there, you've got the Visit Rwanda logo there, you've got the BAL logo. So there's a specific set of rules and regulations when it comes to jerseys that they have to follow. But Burundi were playing hardball, and at some point they said that they want to play their own jersey, which was impossible because the head of content and advertising in the advertising department, their job is to make sure that the product that is going to come out is going to show the sponsor, it's going to show the basketball is being played, it's also going to be used and repurposed to market the league. So they can't market the league without that logo there because the sponsors are putting in money for that. So I think the Dynamo, Burundi, Febabu, they forgot that this is a league that is being sponsored, and it has heavy sponsors who are putting in money to be able to do and make sure that the BL is running smoothly. I think that they skipped out on that board meeting because that's one thing that has to happen. And honestly, if you ask me, from my opinion, I feel like Burundi basketball should be banned for even at least 6 years, and a case should be opened and sanctions to be put there, because even the BL can get angry, even sue Febabu and Dynamo. If they sue Dynamo, that team is done. It's finished. They lost their best player, and their best player is going to go to APR. So honestly, it was a big L. It was a massive L by Burundi. And the reason that's why I say it's a massive L, Burundi, this was the first time in the Dynamo. Dynamo is the first time in the BL. I know them because they went through KPA and they beat KPA in the first game that they played. And they had to go to the gauntlet of road to BAL to get to where they were. So throwing it all away just because of a jersey, and knowing for a fact that Visit Rwanda is the logo and that is there on jerseys, and eventually if they made the playoffs, they will have to go to Rwanda and play. It's a very ignorant thing that they did, and I honestly feel like they need to be banned, because I don't feel like this forfeiture will change them. Because if Febabu are willing to do this now, and Burundi, any team coming from Burundi, either Dynamo or Urunani, that goes ahead and plays in the BL, what stops them from doing the same thing? So that's just it. So that's the whole deep dive. There was a lot of things there that were going on, and in this channel you could see I made a couple of a 9-part series of the X spaces that were there with different people in the African basketball X spaces. So make sure to have a good listen to what people had to say. I made sure to clip it so that people can be able to just follow it piece by piece. So if you've not watched it, please, if you have not listened to it, make sure it's a very good listen. We listen to what other people are saying, but that's just my opinion on what went down. I know I had a couple of videos that I made talking about this. I made a video with Coach Abel talking about this whole thing, but honestly, I just said, let me just make a video just to address this matter once and for all. At the conclusion of the Kalahari conference, I didn't want to make a video because I didn't want to take away from what was going on in the Kalahari conference. But that is all I got for you guys. So if you guys like the video, make sure to leave your feedback down in the comments on what you think about this whole situation. What do you think about Dynamo? Should they get banned? Should sanctions be imposed? Should they, face much hefty punishment than what they experienced because they got locked out? And there's a high likelihood they're going to get blackballed by BAL, and BAL is not going to tolerate that, especially the way they reacted and saying that they wanted to play with their own jerseys. It is what it is. So please tell me what you think in the comment section down below, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.